What's up, y'all? This is the Kid DC Wrestling. Back once again with another one like always, man. Summerslam is next Saturday night, and most of the card is pretty much finalized. I don't see any other matches getting added, so I'm going to go ahead and give y'all my official preview and predictions for the show. Now, before I get into it, just by looking off this card alone, me personally, if everything goes right, if the cards go the way they're supposed to be going, this SummerSlam can be probably one of the best SummerSlams WWE has put together in a long time. Because for the past couple of years, it seems like SummerSlam was either a solid show or a mid show at best. For me, the true overall best SummerSlam that the WWE put together was low key probably SummerSlam 2013. If I'm being honest with you, maybe SummerSlam 2014, but I might have to go back and look at that card. But anyways, nonetheless, this should be a really enjoyable show overall for all the fans tuning in to watch, and everybody who's gonna be at the show live in Cleveland. But I'm gonna start off with the Intercontinental Championship. This is really a rematch for Money in the Bank too. This is Sami Zayn defending his title once again against Braun Breaker. And right off the gate, I do think Braun Breaker goes over in this one. I don't really see Braun losing to Sami Zayn two consecutive pay-per-views in a row. Because for me, if Braun Breaker does lose, first, it proves that Sami Zayn is on God mode, that he's just on a different level than anybody in that company. And Braun Breaker is just hype. Because you mean to tell me that you go around murking dudes left and right on Monday Night Raw for weeks. You destroyed Sami Zayn for weeks on end, attacking him after matches, attacking him backstage, whatever. But then it's time to do a one-on-one match, and you lose, not once but twice. I just don't necessarily see Braun Breaker losing again. So we'll see what happens, but I do think we get a new Intercontinental champ in the form of Braun Breaker, because he has been killing it, obviously. Logan Paul is going to defend his United States Championship against LA Knight. And I think this is the one match where everybody and their mama can agree LA Knight needs to go over. Like, because Logan Paul, I know he's done social media crap, social media stuff, I should say, and it's involved the Intercontinental Championship. This dude had a whole interview with, former President Donald Trump, and the Intercontinental Championship was right there. But your social media presence, it still doesn't change the fact that you haven't been defending your championship that much. Logan Paul, I want to say, has only defended the United States Championship 2 times since he's won the belt. And, it's like for a guy like LA Knight, who's consistently over with the crowd, and some will say his title win is long overdue. I just think it's the right time to pull the trigger and give the United States Championship to to LA Knight, excuse me. And there's no other person better to beat Logan Paul for the title than LA Knight. So, all right, next match is gonna be for the women's title, Bayley versus Nia Jax. And I gotta tell you, something tells me Nia Jax is gonna go over in this one. I don't. Something just tells me Bayley will not retain at SummerSlam. It's just something. I feel like Nia's just gonna end up beating Bayley somehow, some way. Uh, Nia ends up winning. The story's been solid, but a lot of people, from what I've seen, haven't really been feeling Bayley as champion, or in a sense, they feel like that the WWE hasn't necessarily been just doing a great job booking Bayley as champion. Like, her faced run as champion just hasn't felt anything memorable. But we'll see what she does at SummerSlam. But me personally, just something tells me Nia's just going to end up winning, because Nia, and then you also add to the element of Tiffany being women's Money in the Bank and Nia is champion. It just adds more element somewhat to that little angle there. So we'll see what happens at SummerSlam, obviously. And Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, man. I want to give credit where credit is due first. I gotta applaud both WWE and AEW, honestly, because you got what they're doing in AEW with Mariah May and Toni Storm for the women's title, and you got Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. We got two like major title feuds that people are intrigued in, feuds that people are talking about, and they're some of the biggest feuds on the show, and it involves the women. So I got to tip my hat off to both WWE and AEW, obviously, for doing a pretty good job at booking these storylines, collectively. Obviously, this whole story with Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, need I say any more? Dominic Mysterio. But this goes back to Dominic Mysterio. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan were a tag team. Rhea Ripley took out Liv Morgan. She betrayed Liv Morgan when she joined Judgment Day. So this story goes back a while back. And obviously Liv Morgan on this revenge tour has been trying to do everything in her power to take everything from Rhea Ripley, which includes Dominic. Now, do I think Rhea wins back the title that she never lost? Nah. I think Rhea ends up losing. I really do. And Liv's not going to beat Rhea clean. I don't see a universe, I don't see a reality where Liv beats Rhea clean. I just don't. The only way Liv beats Rhea is Dominic Mysterio. And, they can easily come out, swerve. There's been signs. There's been wonders. And I do think it's very possible that this whole thing that Dominic is playing Rhea, and in reality, he's in cahoots with Liv Morgan, or Liv was able to convince Dominic to turn on Rhea. And I think that's what's going to end up happening at SummerSlam. Dominic turns on Rhea. Rhea is devastated. Liv takes advantage. Liv retains championship. So, because this Judgment Day is falling apart. Whether you want to admit it or not, Judgment Day is falling apart, which we'll definitely get into with that match later on. But CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, big marquee match, one of the big matches taking place at SummerSlam, probably the second biggest match taking place at SummerSlam. This match is so huge, man. Honestly, this could main event the show over Solo and Cody, but we'll obviously get to that main event in a second. But my thing with Punk, man, because with Punk, man, the poor thing, the dude's body ain't, you can argue, ain't really up to par. And, at this point, it's cautious for Punk to step in that ring, because it's like every time he steps in the ring, he gets hurt. We've seen it in AEW, we've seen it in WWE. The dude just keeps getting hurt. And, you don't want to necessarily see a scenario where he gets hurt again in this match with Drew McIntyre, because if, God forbid, Punk does get hurt, then I think it's over. Just let Punk be backstage, be whatever he want to be, because at this point, it's like it's a curse to put CM Punk in the ring. But I hope not, because there's so much CM Punk can do in this run. And even though he has been injured, the moments, the segments that he's been having with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins have been absolutely fun to see. And, with Seth Rollins to the mix, there's so much that can happen. Now, I personally think that Seth Rollins does play a role in who wins this match, and I personally think Drew McIntyre does win this match. And how they can do it, I'm not saying it's going to be right down the finish to how SummerSlam 97 was with Bret and Undertaker. If you guys remember that spot, Shawn and Bret were arguing. Bret spit in Shawn's face. Shawn took the chair that Bret had, hit Bret. Well, he was trying to hit Bret with the chair. Bret ducked, hit Undertaker, and then Undertaker lost the title because of Shawn Michaels, and then that led to the Hell in a Cell match, and then, Kane. Y'all know the whole 9 yards, but they could do something like that. Maybe Drew gets in Seth's face. Seth strikes Drew. When it was meant for Drew, it goes to Punk, and it costs Punk the match. Because I just think, I can't see Drew taking another loss. I mean, Drew's got to get a win. He's been, the man's been suffering L after L after L since WrestleMania, even before WrestleMania to a certain extent. I think Drew deserves to get a win, and I think him getting the win over Punk in this one would be good for him. And, who's to say this is the end? With Bad Blood, obviously, in October, God knows what they'll do for that. So we'll see what WWE does that night. But for now, on this night, I think you give it to Drew McIntyre for this one. Damian Priest and Gunther. I've been enjoying the build up for this one match. Gunther calling Priest a hooligan, a bum, a nobody, and Priest is getting pissed off for good reason because Priest has been working, his ass off to get where he needed to get, and for someone like Gunther to just come in and just say all that shit to him, oh yeah, it's gonna fire you up. But like I said earlier, man, we've been looking at this dissension going on with the Judgment Day. Like, whenever they don't want to admit it or not, the Judgment Day is low key falling apart. And I think, kind of like with Dirty Dominic Mysterio playing with Liv Morgan and helping her retain against Rhea, Finn Balor could play at fault as to why Priest doesn't win this match. If Priest wins this match, this is the biggest win of his title run. And at this point, you can't say nothing about Damian Priest to where it's like, oh, you're a transitional champion. You're a nobody. Dude beat Jey Uso. He beat Seth Rollins. He beat Drew McIntyre. But the thing with that was that it was all interference. You know what I'm saying? And just something tells me I think Gunther ends up winning. I don't know, but I think this should be a fun little matchup, obviously. Like I said, I've been enjoying their exchanges and stuff they've been having, so I think they should have a really enjoyable match at SummerSlam. And what will be the main event of SummerSlam? Solo, Cody for the WWE title. And right off the gate, obviously, the only reason why this match realistically is main eventing the show is because Roman Reigns is coming back. If Roman Reigns does not come back at SummerSlam, then honestly, this match could have been the semi-main event, been the middle match of the show, and you could have gave the main event to someone like Punk versus Drew or something. But in my personal opinion, I do think Roman Reigns could very well come back, and I think it'd be really cool because how ironic it would be. SummerSlam 2020, Roman Reigns makes his return. He debuts the Tribal Chief character, the gimmick, the heel run, and he debuted with no fans. 4 years later, come back to basically let Solo know, hey, I'm the Tribal Chief. And everybody goes crazy because regardless of if Roman wants to show up at SummerSlam, Raw, SmackDown, I mean, the homeboy can show up on freaking main event for all I know. Biggest pop of all time. Or at least in a sense, one of the biggest pops of this year, I would say. But like I said, man, I think SummerSlam overall, regardless of what happens, this should be a really, really good show. So that has been my official preview and predictions for SummerSlam. Should be a good show again, and we'll see what happens next Saturday.